Before leaves fall, they perform an enchanting spectacle of color and light. This glorious display soon comes to an end. What remains is the tree's skeletal framework, which upon close observation can be just as impressive. Some trees expose the amazing branch symmetry, while others uncover a certain imbalance or past injury. This big reveal reminds me of the time when I first lifted the mesmerizing veil cloaking the human race to see the bare truth. On that day, I woke up to the reality of this world. And by the way, this can be done by anyone with a certain kind of hunger, by stripping off the veneer of historical explanations, emotional justifications, exaggerated intentions, and proclaimed authorizations put upon the current interpretation of our so-called civilization. What should only be left standing are people and their actions. Nothing else. No song and dance routine, distractions. It is those actions alone that reveal the truth. No matter who it is and what they say, their actions are the sole harsh reality. That is when I saw people all over the world being steered by dressed-up deception to a life of unintended consequences. It is a subtle and incremental management of perception, forcing people into an ever smaller box of assumptions, expectations, and capabilities. Decisions are made based on what is perceived to be in that box. Those poor decisions then lead to worse actions, which when taken together shape an ugly existence, where original aspirations of freedom and fulfillment get relegated to a distant future. I saw grown adults trying desperately to fit into groups and labels, believing blindly in rich rhetoric of misleading voices. I saw families torn apart from their children by a system of diminishing returns designed to constrain their capacity to love, nurture, and develop. I witnessed the induced fear, helplessness, and numbness to act in those with positions of responsibility. The level of attained comfort in life was just enough not to want to lose it. The power of self-determination, integral to being human, was no longer present. I did not want to participate within such edifice of social dystopia. It immediately became foreign, repulsive, and distressing to me. How could people justify their deeds if they could not see the same being done to them? How could I stand by with indifference while partaking in a society that supports those deeds? I needed to back out completely to remain morally honest. I will not tolerate violence, oppression, or theft being done in my name. Protesting? Protesting about it, and I've done protesting, does not clear one's conscience. Trust me. Would anyone feel right about shopping in a store, using a bank, or dining at a restaurant if they knew that its manager or CEO routinely used aggression, intimidation, and murder to deprive others of their property, privacy, liberty, and life? I would cross the street to stay clear of such an establishment. My time, energy, money, or direct and indirect activity of any kind should not be there to make that CEO's life better or easier. At about the same time, I also woke up to the possibility of a more meaningful life, a way of living that is not harmful or even neutral, but actually enriching for me and my environment, where I have the ability to exercise my freedom without feeding the beast. To act on this idea required that I break through the wall of laid-down limitations. It meant using my own thought and imagination to create a new reality. After years of concentrated effort, I have never had regrets. I have attained my goal the minute my new journey began, because my life and my actions instantly became my own. 100% of my time is spent the way I want, and all the fruits of my labor go where I direct them. Some call it living an authentic life, but it is so much more than that. It means being observant, informed, determined, and uncompromising when it comes to seeing what's true. Once truth is established, I have a firm foundation for choosing the best course of action. What I used to believe was possible, now I know is possible. I don't dwell on the past, only carry the lessons learned forward. Without exposure to manufactured distractions, I'm more focused. Nature helps tremendously in this regard. Its raw beauty draws me in entirely. Such undivided concentration has sharpened all my senses. Starting fresh has been as much a change for the mind as for the body. Unlearning to foolishly follow others while learning to lead my own self was a very positive adjustment. The virtue of self-reliance builds courage and confidence, resulting in a better ability to help others. Facing new tasks and situations required dusting off my creativity, the most important skill thought the least at school. Each new idea always came with bonus discoveries that I eagerly incorporated into more projects. After a long time of being plugged to the system, one might not even remember if they had a dream. It may take a few years of trying new things to rediscover one's passion. This is when patience and curiosity help to explore and find happiness. The biggest personal improvement came when I elevated my criteria for what is acceptable in life. Everyone knows the unmistakable qualities of greatness, even though few of us attain them. I often wonder, where does such knowledge come from? Maybe we're born with it. Taken out of my comfort zone, I no longer settle for just good enough to get by. My only chance at life is going to be something I can be proud of. I'll leave this body the same way I found it, empty-handed. But another part of me that starts like a blank sheet of paper leaves this world full of information about who I have become during my earthly experience. So instead of material addictions, it's worth focusing on those qualities of character that I valued the most. All the lessons learned and improvements made throughout life's challenges will ultimately become a masterpiece, which may be the determining factor for what comes next.